Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the geothermal system over the last year. It has been a year since I installed it. Now, a little bit of a caveat there that we're going to explain as we get into this video, but this is going to be just a quick video. One of the subscribers had asked for an update on the system. There are quite a few people that are interested in getting a water furnace system. Actually, just in my neighborhood alone, I get questions all the time from people in the neighborhood asking questions about the system and how it is doing, as well as how much energy it uses. So it is definitely a popular system with a lot of people asking questions about it. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the usage over the last year so you can get a sense for how it would perform in your area. Just keep in mind that I live in a 1979 house. That plays a big role in how it performs and how much energy usage it is. A 1979 house with about 3,500 square feet of total livable area. And I've only done a couple of recent upgrades to the actual shell of the house. So that means essentially it is very airy and I get a lot of hot air coming in or cold air coming in. And that makes my system work harder. If you're in a newer house with newer insulation, better insulation, a more airtight environment, you're going to have better results than my house. Just keep that in mind. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, now don't forget, if you like this kind of content, hit that like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Now, this is my interface for my WaterFurnace 7 through the Symphony app. And as we can see here, August through August. Now, again, we are not completely through the month of August. And as kind of the caveat, really October was the month where the full install was pretty much done. If you watched any of these videos, then you might remember that in August, my HVAC completely died and I was in the process of doing the replacement. They did install the water furnace installed, but it didn't actually have the loop from the well hooked up to it yet. So it wasn't really the full system the way that it was intended. It was using a water tree, but it was not the full system using the well. So just keep that in mind, is that these August, September, and October months were a little bit different than the actual full system being installed. But you can see here that obviously in the colder months, it used quite a bit more. It kind of slows down a little bit in these less hot or cold months. And then we had a little bit of a spike here when it started to get hot outside. So we can see that our usage jumped up in the month of July. Now, interestingly enough, in my last video, I talked about doing insulation. And I mentioned if you have a better shell for your house, better insulated, more air sealing done, then your system works less. Now in July, I installed insulation and I did a video and I explained that my usage went down by about 40%. Now, the numbers here are from my water furnace. The numbers I used in that video are from my span panel. You would notice that the numbers are a little bit different, but I've actually got a question out to my installer asking if the system needs calibration on the monitoring, just to make sure that I'm getting accurate energy information, because there was a pretty good delta between what the actual system shows that I used and what the span shows. But as I understand it, the water furnace does have a way to calibrate the energy usage. So I'm going to ask about that and I'll follow up if there's anything with that. But in terms of the actual energy usage, we can see that the total energy usage was 3,813.42 kilowatt hours over the 12-month period here. Now, keep in mind, again, if your house is much older like mine, then your results might be similar, but if it's also smaller, or there's a whole bunch of different factors that can play into how the energy use works out. I tend to be very happy with the amount of energy use that the system is using. I had natural gas before this. Now I have solar and battery and some other things. I don't really have a bill. So that's a big difference. I was having a natural gas bill, obviously, if I was using the natural gas. So there was a bigger usage for that. And I also tend to think that my energy usage for just this system versus the compressor that was operating outside is also better. So I think overall the system is doing its job. I'm definitely seeing it. I don't have a bill anymore for natural gas, which is amazing. Very nice not having that bill. You might be asking, well, what is your electric bill? Well, my electric bill last month was like $8. So that's essentially my hookup fee for the total cost here. So if you're pairing a geothermal system with solar and battery, I don't think you're going to be upset with the outcome of that decision, as long as you get a properly sized system for the solar and the battery. And if we scroll down here, we can also take a look at our main zone temp. Now, how do I use the thermostat? I tend to set it a little bit warmer in the cooler months. So I'm usually right around 72-ish degrees for both zones. And then once it starts to warm up outside, I tend to drop it to around 71 degrees. So about a degree difference between the two times of the year. I just find that it's a little bit warmer, setting it a little bit higher in the colder months, and then it's a little bit cooler in the warmer months here. And when I say cooler, I mean it is quite a bit cooler. 71 actually feels much cooler with this system versus the natural gas system. Now, the natural gas system was 25 years old, so I wasn't overly surprised by that, but it is a very comfortable system living with this system in my house at this point. Now, I also say that improving the insulation last month, I also saw an improvement in the comfort upstairs, obviously, where the R60 insulation was installed. And then again, we did see that pretty significant drop in usage in the month of July also. Now, again, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel grow. That's pretty much it for today's video. Just kind of a short overview of the last year with the system. I might do another update in October, just so we have an apples to apples comparison of fully on the geothermal system. So more to follow on that. Also, the geothermal renewable energy credits are fully up at this point now. I received the estimate, and it said for essentially the last 12 or 13 months here, I believe it actually was just looking at October. So we're just talking October through August. I earned 22 credits. Right now, they're going for around $22. So you can do the math. It's a little over $400 that the system will have paid me. Now, I opted to just kind of let them control everything. And the exchange that I'm working with is working on a specific spot value in order to sell those. I'm going to let that play out and see what it is. I don't necessarily need the $400 that the system has generated. So if they can get a little bit more for that, then I don't see the problem in waiting. The largest check that I can get, I think they said was $10,000. I've got a lot more credits to earn before I'll get anywhere near $10,000 for the system. So I figure let it wait, let it see what happens next year. This year, everything's just kind of starting. So I expect that potentially next year, when the energy companies need to buy more credits, the spot value could increase a little bit and drive that price up a little bit higher. So again, I'm just going to let that ride and see how it goes. Again, I will do update videos on the geothermal renewable energy credits and getting those funds as that process kind of moves forward. But you can kind of do the math between October and August, 22 credits. That's not bad. That's more credits than I would have got from my solar system. So I consider that to be a pretty good setup. But let's see what that translates to in terms of actual revenue coming in from having the geothermal system installed. That's it for today. Again, thanks for checking out the channel. Until next time.